Hello students, welcome to Module 1. I am so excited to be your instructor for Capstone Instructional Design. I love to teach and learn things connected with technology. This is the first time I have taught this class. I am sure we will all learn from each other. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If I do not know the answer, I will try to find out the answer as soon as possible. By the end of this course, I hope you will be more comfortable creating your own courses and will have the confidence that you know some basic techniques to follow while creating them. The Faculty Expectations segment is located under Meet Your Instructor. This section includes my contact information and discusses the support I will provide you during this course. It also discusses specific information that I have for you concerning assignment expectations, professionalism, and late assignments. It is not required for you to review the discussion board rubric, but I feel it is in your best interest to read and print it. A rubric benefits you if you utilize it to make decisions. This rubric is found on the left sidebar under the section About Discussions. As stated on the slide where we discussed aligning assignments with assessment, the discussion board rubric has 5 categories. While mechanics and organization are important, the categories that contain the most points are critical thinking, subject knowledge, and participation. Do you want to be? That's an interesting concept. Do you want to be distinguished? If you have not reviewed the video presentation, Do You Want to Be Distinguished? I encourage you to review it. It is in your best interest to understand what each element of the rubric means. Specific examples are provided to allow you to see a variety of posts. Aligning learning outcomes. It is very important that learning outcomes, assignments, and assessments are aligned. In the text, Assessing Learners Online, the author states, a learning outcome can be measured only if it can be observed. To create an observable event, a learner must exhibit a behavior. Let's take a few minutes to make those direct correlations for this week's assignments. You will read an overview of some common design practices in Chapter 1 and examine the different ways people learn and think in Chapter 2. These 2 assignments will help you be able to demonstrate an understanding of standard design and to reflect on theories and models of instructional design. You will post an introduction as an icebreaker exercise, which should help you get to know your classmates and establish a good working environment. In the next discussion board, you will provide your thoughts about how you view instructional design as a process, a discipline, a science, and a reality. In the last discussion board assignment, you will review a link concerning different instructional models and choose a specific model or models that you feel you would use as an instructional designer. As always, you are asked to provide a thorough evaluation of your choices. This assignment also asks you to describe how you feel the models you choose or that you chose will impact learners. As you can see, these 2 assignments ask you to analyze instructional design models and reflect on the instructional design of specific models. The journal assignment asks you to reflect on your own coursework in instructional design and share what you hope to do in the design field. The final assignment requires you to examine different instructional design theories and discuss these theories as they are connected to students and instructional design. This specifically correlates in the 3rd and 4th learning outcome. The required reading assignments are Chapters 1 and 2. Both chapters will provide you the necessary information to correlate with the learning outcomes listed on the previous slide. You will also be required to use the website about instructional design models and complete the last discussion board assignment. There are several recommended resources for this module. A Framework for Designing Learning Environments, instructionaldesign.org, VoiceThread, and instructionaldesignCentral.com. I hope that you will utilize all 4 of these resources in your studies this week. The first assignment is for you to introduce yourself. We know that every educational exercise should have some kind of educational merit or objective. What does introduce yourself have to do with receiving an online education? According to Osterhoff and Eli, an ice-breaking activity is crucial for setting the stage for community development because it allows students to get to know each other on a personal basis and begins the trust-building process with fellow students. This activity also provides the instructor with specific insight about each student. The first assignment for this week is for you to introduce yourself and respond to at least 3 of your classmates. The directions state that you are to choose whether you wish to write your introduction directly into the course or provide an introduction using VoiceThread. Option 1 requires you to introduce yourself, provide your educational background, discuss your classroom experiences, describe what you hope to get out of this class, and explain what an instructional designer means to you. If you choose option 2, you will use VoiceThread to create a photo story to introduce yourself, discuss why you chose a degree in education, discuss 2 concepts of interest that you have learned in your degree program, discuss 1 course outcome from the syllabus that intrigues you, and provide a brief bio of yourself. In addition to that, you need to tell what being an instructional designer means to you, and make sure that you respond to at least 3 classmates. In the second discussion board assignment, you will describe the field of instructional design to someone who is not an instructional designer. This description should provide a definition of instructional design as a process, as a discipline, as a science, and as a reality. You must also tell what aspects of instructional design you see as artistic and what aspects of instructional design you see as scientific. In addition to this, you are to provide examples to illustrate your explanation. Double check to ensure that you have answered all questions completely and respond substantively to at least 2 of your peers. Instructional design models. As you can see, there are many instructional design models. These are only part of the ones that are available. In this assignment, you are supposed to review different instructional designs from the ones listed in this assignment. After you learn more information about each of them, you are supposed to explain which models of instructional design or development that you would most likely follow. In addition to that, you must explain why the models you chose are appealing to you and how you feel they would impact learners. The final part of this assignment asks you whether you feel it's important to adopt a formal instructional design method and to explain why you feel it is important or it is not important. Before day 7, you should respond to a minimum of 2 of your classmates. Make sure that your response is on topic, supportive, informative, and will increase the collaborative effort in our classroom. Evaluate and compare this information. If you were presenting this, what would you think about it? Do you think this slide is effective, or did you kind of get lost in the shuffle as all of the models continued to come up? Let's evaluate and compare this information to the next few slides. All images that you will see are provided through Google Images. Let's do a retake. In this module, we're going to discuss instructional design models. The first picture you see here is a picture of the ADDIE model. You can tell it is ADDIE because it's analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. It has 5 steps in it, and they do believe that you start it at number 1 and you work your way to number 5. On the last slide, we discussed the ADDIE model, which is analysis, design, development, implementation, and evaluation. On this slide, we're going to discuss the ASSURE model. In the ASSURE model, you are supposed to analyze learner characteristics, state objectives, select, modify, or design materials, utilize materials, require learner response, and evaluate. On this slide, we're going to discuss the Kemp, Morrison, and Ross model. The last slide discussed the ASSURE model. The one before that discussed the ADDIE model. In the Kemp, Morrison, and Ross model, there are many steps, starting with learner characteristics, task analysis, instructional objectives, content sequencing, instructional strategies, designing the message, development of instruction, evaluation instruments, and instructional problems. Then you also have the steps that are involved on the outer circles. The biggest difference between this model and the other 2 models is that Kemp, Morrison, and Ross believe that you don't have to go in order. You can do each one of them in whatever order that you feel works best for you. Okay, on this slide we're going to discuss the Dick and Carey model. Again, I want to remind you, the one on the previous slide was the Kemp, Morrison, and Ross model. We also looked at the ASSURE model. And our first one that we looked at was the ADDIE model. In the Dick and Carey model, you see it's set out kind of like a flow chart, and it goes from one to the other. You identify the instructional goals, and notice then that you can go to identify entry behaviors or conduct instructional analysis. The flow chart helps you see how you go from one step to the next step. Again, this is the Dick and Carey model. What if we wanted to carry this just a little bit further? And we wanted to talk about with the ADDIE model, and we talked about that the 5 steps are analysis, design, development, implementation, or evaluation. I think we can all see that we bumped it up a notch when we moved from just listing all of the instructional models to giving a brief overview. But what if our instruction even covered more than that? And we provided something that's visual and auditory. For instance, in the guidance section, you will find videos for the ADDIE model in each phase of the ADDIE model. The next assignment I want to talk about is our journal assignment for this week. You are to open the journal, reflect upon your coursework with instructional design, discuss how your thinking about education and designing instruction changed after completing your courses, discuss your level of excitement and or your passion about instructional design. Has your level of excitement or passion about the field increased or has it decreased?